Hello there. This is just a quick tutorial of how to decorate with clutter and OMSPs, which are a downloadable custom content for The Sims 2, which means one more slot placement. It allows you to put deco items on it, and it can be placed in close proximity to other items at different heights. There's some cheats you have to use. You have to use the snapObjectsToGrid false cheat, and then you have to use the move objects on cheat as well. But these trays, they come with invisible recolors and they come with different numbers. The numbers indicate thickness. And I've learned just through experimenting and just troubleshooting with them which ones are better for different shelves. So here I'm going to take out some deco clutter like this cake display. And by default, when you put any kind of deco item on a Max's counter, it defaults to the middle of the counter. And without the cheat, you can't place anything else onto the counter. So here I am trying to find an OMSP to put this on. Obviously, the grid is preventing me from sliding it around, otherwise it's going to take the same spot even with move objects on. So I'm going to turn the grid off with boolProp snapObjectsToGrid false. And so that will allow me to slide it around. But as you can see, it looks like this OMSP didn't work for this plate because you can see the counter clip through it. So I'm going to go try a different OMSP, one that's a little less thick, the 9. And when you would adjust that OMSP, you can adjust those trays with the brackets, either the left or the right, raises and lowers it. You can adjust the height so that it sits on top of the counter on the tray. And it looks like the 9 didn't work either, so I'm going to the 2. And it looks like the 2 actually works. So I'm going to make that invisible, and then I'm going to slide that into a positioning I want it, like right next to that cake display. Alright, so that is how you can get those into close proximity with those cheats and on an OMSP with an invisible recolor, so it's not that purple. So here I'm just pulling out a bunch of other kitchen deco. I have like a tray of bread, like a little pitcher, some pans. That set right there. Oh, I guess I didn't have move objects on, so I'm turning it on now. That just comes at counter height, so you don't even have to put that on an OMSP. It just slides right in there. Some of the counters, they already have slots enabled by default, and you can hit your M key, like M for moose, to kind of roll through those different slots. If you put an item on there, you can check that. By the way, if you ever see, and this works on other shelves that Max's has, if you push M, it'll scroll through the different slots if they're available. So that's what I did with the pitcher. I didn't have to put it on OMSP. All I had to do was like turn move objects on so that it could go into one of those corner slots that's already just on the counter. But the bread I had to put on OMSP and slide it close. These like noodle canisters, I want to slide in there somewhere, maybe at the back of that counter. And then I didn't like those pans, so I switched them out. And this shows how high you can raise these particular tray items, because they don't just have to be on counters. You can use them for basically any height up to like the top of the first story. So here I put the pans on the OMSP, make the OMSP invisible, and then raise it on top of the fridge. And I know if you have a lot of clutter, it is painstaking and it does take a long time, but it really adds to kind of the lived-in feel of a room when you're interior decorating on these Sims houses and rooms. So here I'm just gonna grab a little bit more deco items to finish out this kitchen. That actually didn't even have to get those spice bottles that come with, I think, free time. They're like a free time missed statue item. Those just went onto the corner there. And then this fruit tray, I thought I might want to put it near the sinks, but then it was like, no, I don't. There's another cheat I use here, which is the diagonal cheat, which is boolProp allow 45-degree angle of rotation true, and that lets you turn items diagonal with the caret keys, or the less than and more than keys. And then finally, I'm just adding some dishes next to the sink, since I thought that area was kind of empty and lacking. So I put those on those trays. And the 10 tray, again, that's, I don't know if I mentioned that already, but that is like the default shelf thickness that I found that's pretty flush with the counters that Max has provided. There's some custom stuff that might not mesh well with that, but as you can see, if I lower the camera, like the plate has a little bit of a gap, but everything else is pretty much flush with the counter, which if you're never like at that level, it's mostly important for like picture or filming. If there is a gap and you're just playing the house, it's not as big of a deal. But as you can see, that it adds clutter and it adds more life to the room, and that's how you do it, is just with the OMSP trays. So happy decorating. I'm glad I could help.